So yeah, what I wanted to talk about, it was my first big find on Nansen. And I think this is going to be instructive, particularly for sort of beginner level folks, because an important thing to know about me is that I'm stupid. A former journalist. Again, we're not good at working with data. This has been proven, right? Like I can still use these tools in a way to uncover really interesting things. If I can do this kind of stuff as a turbo giga brainlet, then I think just about anyone can. And this is uncovering, I think, information relatively deep in the chain, but still tells an interesting story and can still be used to surface a great deal of alpha. So let's dive into it. Back in April, Kobe, the illustrious shitposter, part-time podcaster, I think multi-billionaire at this point. God bless that guy. But he called attention to a endemic problem with Coinbase listings. Coinbase, obviously, I think still the biggest retail centralized exchange in terms of volumes. Whenever they list a new asset, there tends to be a massive increase in the amount of interest in that asset, and prices tend to pump merely on the listing. So as a way to try and ameliorate this this pump effect that they have, they introduced this program in a blog post on April 11th, increasing transparency for new asset listings on Coinbase. The theory was that they would announce every single asset that they were considering listing, and this would prevent a little bit of this pump effect, and it would also potentially prevent a noted and endemic problem in crypto is that there's a little bit of insider trading going on, probably a lot of insider trading, and that Coinbase listed assets tended to pump before the listing announcement and also after the listing announcement, indicating that somebody somewhere in the organization or somewhere outside the organization somehow got the news that the listing was coming.
And maybe just to jump in there, right? Because this is uniquely hard to track in crypto to some extent, like how it leaks, right? Because you can in theory jump on like a DEX funded with Tornado Cash, ETH or something to do it. So it's like it's really hard to control it, right? The information. Someone could. So it's not like we're necessarily saying that, oh yeah, there's someone high up in the Coinbase system who has this conspiracy. It's like there's somehow there's a lot of different ways information can leak out, and it's not very hard to create an on-chain identity, let's say, which takes advantage of that, and that's really hard to trace back to a specific real-world entity.
That's right. I think even a moderately skilled user can find ways to circumvent the kind of oversight that you'd see in traditional equities with these kinds of trading. Usually, something pumps on an announcement, they're going to look at the trades that took place before that. It's much harder to do here because it's really easy to anonymize to a certain degree anyway. So a lot of these assets, I think it was 18 total listed. Oh no, it was way more than that. 51 assets listed, pumped on the announcement. And there were a number of Ethereum addresses that sort of got wind of this. Kobe called attention to one. I thought this was really interesting, and I sort of went about trying to reverse engineer, if I was Kobe, how would I have found this address? Probably one of these blockchain sleuths sent it to him, and he signal boosted it. Zach XBT or one of his followers, found these guys. But if I wanted to find them, either because I'm a snitch, I want to report them or something, or because I want to start tracking those addresses that did it. Because if somebody knows something, I want to know that thing too. I like knowing things. Then here's how we would do it with Nansen. First off, a lot of these are actually relatively popular, like Big Data Protocol. It's going to be tough to find evidence of somebody front running an announcement on that. That's traded on a lot of centralized exchanges. BitDAO is another one. There's going to be a lot of noise. What I went looking for was an asset that has really low volume is primarily, and the majority of that volume is on a decentralized exchange. Ideally, it'd also be something where the utility of the token is such that there's not a lot of good reasons for somebody to be holding this thing unless they're actually using it for its intended purpose. If they have the token and it helps you mint an NFT, if it lets you call data on the graph or something like that, that sort of thing. And there are a couple good options. Paper would have been a good one. Dope Wars is a fun sort of, it's a loot derivative, and this is their adventure gold, ERC20, their governance token and in-game currency. So there were a couple of options, but the one I went to was Botto. Botto is a fun project. They use the token to train a where is their website? To train an AI that generates NFTs. And they have a little bit of a liquidity mining like option, but mostly it's people hold the token and they tell the robot which pieces of art they like, and the robot produces more art like that. So not a lot of reasons to hold Botto unless you're like really, really into the art, right? And we can kind of see that on the chart. Like, look at this, the price and volume stuff here. After the project launched, it's sort of flatlined, you know? There's not a ton of trades that happen. So this is kind of an ideal asset to look for somebody who is front running this announcement. When I went looking, the majority of the volume was also on the Uniswap pool. That's since changed. More of it's at these like no-name centralized exchanges. But when I initially went looking, it was almost all on Uniswap. So we could find the guy primarily there. Also, when I went looking, it was within the last 7 days, so I could find it on latest DEX trades. It was really easy to comb through what was going on and find some names to look at. In this case, I had to find the pair pool address and look it up on Uniswap instead. So went to the pool's contract on Etherscan, went over to ERC20 tokens. So this will actually show the trades, and went back, I think, 5 or 6 pages to find the trades. Here we are on the 11th, just before the Coinbase announcement that they were considering listing Botto went live. And it did pump the price, by the way. It's worth noting that you can see it on the chart. Here's April 11th before the Coinbase announcement. And here it is, April 12th. That's like a 10% pump on the words. Like, people made money on that. And so let's find out who they are, right? So I went through and looked at all of the trades beforehand. A lot of them, you know, not really all that suspicious. Like this guy, Mr. Drew, you know, let's wallet profile him right fast. I think I remember him. He was somebody who had traded Botto before. So how do I do wallet profile for token? That's what we want.
Banksy.
Right. This is an NFT guy, just off the bat. This is somebody who has like plausible deniability. There's a reason why he's like messing around with Botto, right? But
afterwards, I kind of want to check his NFT collection.
Yeah, he's probably got some weird stuff, right? If like that's actually a great idea. If you're into art NFTs, find the people messing with Botto. Yeah, see, he got some from Botto, but he went and he staked it. This isn't somebody who's like flipping a shitcoin. This is somebody who's trying to like participate in a cool experiment to train AI generated art. Good for him. He's got every reason to be messing around with Botto. And so I went through all of the trades this way and eventually found one that stood out. this gentleman. So he bought a good bit of it, first off. This was a substantial enough quantity that it's like it's not Wintermute, who's always in these pools, market making and doing some arbitrage trades. No, this was a guy who bought enough that, he's doing something with it. So let's take a look at him and see if he has any history with Botto. Off the bat, we didn't see a ton. I didn't see a ton of NFT activity, like OpenSea user, but this isn't somebody like Botto is for the nerds, right? So that sets you off. Secondly, he had never interacted with Botto before. He still hasn't sold, which is funny. A lot of the ones we're going to find shortly that he front ran almost all of the ones listed here, but not this one, which is curious. So he's booked a loss on that. RIP, my guy. But he bought it. He'd never interacted with it before. That's weird. So let's look at him on a wallet profiler, right? Where is his history? If we go back to incredibly active. The 12th, here we go. We can see he's buying Swift, March, Ichi. Like, look at some of these names he's buying and in these quantities. This is an odd accumulation. Index, I know Index actually. JUP, Crom, what is that? Mithril, Muse, Pokemon. Either this man is a shitcoin connoisseur, some guy who just woke up April 11th and decided, I'm going to spray well over $100,000 if you count it all up at a ton of shitcoins, or this guy, had some knowledge of this blog post going. And so that's how I found this one. And like, once you find something like this, it's important to note here too, that this doesn't necessarily mean that this guy 100% knew that he's not necessarily a Coinbase insider, right? I think that, working at CoinDesk, we had issues with our API in the past where people could see drafts of articles before they were posted. They had just played with all of our endpoints and they had figured stuff out. Crypto is filled with these just insanely alpha hungry guys who are willing to go to extreme lengths to find any edge they can. So it's possible that this guy, found the Coinbase blog in a draft form, or he might have gotten this list in a non-illegal way. And it's an ops problem on Coinbase's end and not some, big flub where this is like incredibly nefarious, right? It also doesn't matter, however. Like, when you find somebody who has managed to pull this off, who has gotten this list and who's making this trade, you want to know. And so this is a prime person to set a smart alert for. And what does he trade when he knows this thing? 7,500. So we want, there's a $5,000 trade. So we want to set anything he's doing above $5,000. We want to know about. And that's how you'd find one of these addresses and leverage, being able to do the same thing he did. Like, I don't have these cool ways of finding information using data leaks, and I'm not an insider. So the way I'd find edge is finding the people who do and following them. And that's how I got from, Kobe flagging this thing to having a smart alert for a guy who is a sort of proven front runner of shitcoins.
I love it. So you're kind of piggybacking off of the hard work that this one is doing.
Exactly.
Which is a good strategy. Like, probably, I mean, nothing here is financial advice. You have to do your own research. It could be that this person will buy coins that tank. Who knows? Oh, they have a pretty interesting wallet profiler.
He's still holding a lot of these shitcoins that he bought. I know he sold some of them. I was looking at it the other day, looking at it on my favorite portfolio tracker 8board. But we didn't. He booked a lot of the gains, but he actually is just kind of a shitcoin flipper too. I wonder if that is a thing where he's getting a lot of information from someplace.
And he was buying mostly for like 5,000, 7,500. So it's mostly sitting in that range actually.
Mm-hmm. A couple of them really pumped though. Fox has gone moonshot, huh? Was Fox even on the list? No, he's just invested in Fox. You might know something.
When was that? Oh, you can actually right-click the Fox symbol and open the wallet profiler for token.
Yeah, when did
that. We can see when they bought. Oh, it looks like
added 2 weeks ago really heavily.
Coinbase. Huh. Also related.
Fox. Huh. Yeah, no, he actually trades this. He's been involved with this for a good long while.
What is Fox?
If I recall correctly, that is Eric Voorhees' thing. It's like a rewards token.
Oh, okay. It's yeah, I should know the name of this thing.
Yeah, this is
Shapeshift.
That's
Shapeshift, right?
Yeah, it's a Shapeshift rewards token. So I think he probably actually is just using it. Maybe he just uses their sex and has a ton of it. But some of these, it might be worth going through his whole history with a lot of these, figuring out like what he's bought recently, and what's a play based off of some potentially spicy upcoming announcement. Yeah, and like after I posted, I had a big thread about this, right? Breaking down how I went through this process, and a lot of people sort of responded to it with this, like, you are little baby manner, and like showed me all these cool algorithms they could do to replicate what I did. And it's like, I can't do that, guy. But if you like do the legwork, just using the tools available, like, you don't have to be a gigabrain to uncover potentially really powerful and insightful stuff on chain.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And you can also combine these different things. So you can find different addresses that do different strategies, and that's a lot easier than trying to actually implement the strategies of multiple different people. Right?
Yep.
So sure enough, you're not going to be faster than them, but you might be faster than a lot of the rest of the market.
Exactly. And like I've sort of contented myself with the knowledge that I'm not going to be, and I'm never going to be. I can't. I just like my neuroelasticity is completely shot. I'm like approaching mid-30s, man. It's over for me in crypto years, right? Like, I just have no chance of learning new skills. But what I can do is find people who have those skills and ride their coattails.